Hi everyone, we'll get started now. Welcome to Law Seco's office here in Delhi, and I'm Ramanuj Mukherjee. So basically, this talk I gave a while back in Uttaranchal University, and then it was very popular. Okay, and so after that I wrote a book on this, an e-book. I don't know how many of you have any of you read that book. It's the same title. How can you in the same? It's available for free to download. You can download it online. Okay, and they will email you. Uzair will email you the link of the book. So obviously it's almost 100-page book. Okay, so there is a lot of information in there, which I cannot cover everything today. But nonetheless, it's a great thing that you do remember to look it up. Okay, so I remember that so Uzair also requested me that I should take on this subject, that how actually a law student, irrespective of whichever college you are from, you can do very well. Okay, very well, provided you take responsibility. Right, responsibility is what? So generally what happens is that when we are growing up, we are looking for our parents to take care of us. Right, when you are babies, right, the baby doesn't even know whether it wants to eat or drink, cannot even express anything, right? And it just starts crying, why, and the parents have to guess. Is it feeling too cold? Is it feeling too hot? Does it need a bath or does it need something to drink, right? That's how it is. So when we grow up, our memory is that other people will take care of us, right? That's the expectation, right? So you keep growing over the years and your expectation is that as we grow, we'll be taken care of. Somebody else is there to take care of us. I remember I would think that if something happens to me on the road, then somebody will take care of me. As if they're all waiting to take care of me, right? So, but that is the expectation of a child. That something happens, somebody will take care of it. Something goes wrong, somebody else will take care of it. Parents, society, neighbors, teachers, etc., right? So, as a society, we grow up with this expectation that somebody else is responsible for us, right? Who's responsible for your safety and security? Government, not you, right? Who's responsible for your safety and security? Governments, right? Everybody agrees. Who's responsible for us having, say, enough to eat? Government. No. Yes, okay. So it is true to an extent, because we live in something called a welfare state, okay, where the government is supposed to take care of some basic things at least, okay. But can government ensure that you are successful? Can your parents ensure that you are successful? Can anybody ensure, even your college ensure that you are successful? That is the expectation. Parents are like, बच्चों को कॉलेज भेज देते, बहुत सारा फीस दे देते, कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा. Right? So, and there is a huge expectation on your shoulders. Actually, there is a massive expectation on your shoulders. Parents are like, I spent so much money, now you better do something. Right? And it's like, responsibility, they will do it somehow. But in reality, what happens is that people do not take responsibility for their own success. We, from our childhood habit of relying on other people, like we completely relied on our parents with our eyes closed, right? So that habit does not go. Most people grow up, for different things they rely on other people, right? To the extent that, why am I not happy? Because of my wife, my husband, my girlfriend, boyfriend, friends, etc. As if everybody else is responsible for your happiness, not you yourself. Okay? Now this happens in career also. The conversations I have every day with people, I hear this again and again, that people are not ready to take responsibility for their career. What they say is that they told us to write these exams, they told us do some debating, mooting, whatever, and after that we are supposed to get a job, supposed to do some internship. I did internship also. I did 10 internships. Now though I should get a job. Okay? So I have done, what is this? Parents told us as kids that, acha, you get this much marks in the exam, then I'll buy you a cycle or buy you whatever you mobile खरीदना है, then you do this, then you'll get a mobile, right? And you did, and you got the mobile. Now you are being introduced to a shocking new system where you are told that you do well in class, you listen to teachers in the class, behave well, score good marks in exam, then you will be fine. You'll get your LLB degree. Now the reality is that you're getting your LLB degree. I think you're also coming face to face with that reality. That having the LLB degree itself guarantees no success. Guarantees not even a minimum wage. Somebody selling stuff on the road might be earning more than somebody with a LLB degree. This is the reality of it. The roll walas, thele wala, chai wala, they can also earn more than an LLB degree holder person. Sad new reality of our world. Okay. I have actually written articles on where, just for an experiment, go stand near a chai shop. See how many cups of tea is being sold. Okay. And then calculate that if this every cup is 5 rupees, 10 rupees, whatever, how many cups is sold in 1 hour? What is the profit margin in that tea? And how much he is earning in 1 hour? And if he earns that much in 1 hour, if he is there for 10 hours, 12 hours, how much he might be earning? Average, like some hours will be rush hour, some hours will not be rush hour. But if you calculate, you will be shocked. Many in Saket, many of the chai walas earn 1 lakh rupees more and more. There is a roll wala here, I calculated like this. He earns at least 3-4 lakhs in profit. No, I'm not talking about revenue. In profit. Okay. Now that obviously this is not how it is supposed to be, right? You are educated, you are a lawyer, for God's sake. You're supposed to be doing better than these people, right? Just think about, these days in Delhi, I don't know how it is in your place, you can tell me. Like somebody who comes to fix fix some carpentry, some electrician work, they charges 500 rupees to come to the house. And if there's extra work, they might charge extra. Okay, what about yours? What is the going rate in where you are? Huh? 6 to 700 for coming once.
For 1 day, 9 to 6.
Okay. Do you guys want to reconsider your career choice? Okay. So obviously my point is that minimum wage also. In Delhi also there is a proposal for minimum wage being 18,000. It is not so yet. But proposal is there that 18,000 should be minimum wage. That is every day divided by 30, 600 rupees per day minimum wage. Okay. I wonder if that will be applicable to lawyers also. Because lawyers really badly need that. Most of the lawyers who are practicing with Delhi High Court with seniors as a junior do not get paid 10,000 also. Not even 10,000. And it does not cover their rent in a city like Delhi. If they are coming from their own house, parents' house they live in, then still they can manage for a few years. But so many people come out from other cities trying to live in Delhi and work, they cannot afford. Okay. Now, does this mean there is no future in law? That is not true. There is tremendous future in law. Like earning couple of lakhs for a lawyer is no problem. No problem. Okay. Not only in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, in smaller towns. Why? Because you do one bail matter, you can charge 50,000. That's like standard rate anywhere in India. Nobody does a bail matter below 50,000 rupees. Correct? Am I wrong? Do you know the price? Yeah. So you can earn. There is a lot of money to be earned. There are people who are earning crores as lawyers. Right? So that is also there. So what is the problem? Why is it that some people are graduating out of law college and not even able to earn 10,000 rupees, which even a carpenter or electrician easily earns? Much more, right? Why is a lawyer struggling so much? Right? Yeah, tell me loudly. So many lawyers. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Because there are a number of people who are pursuing for law degree.
Okay, so according to you, you are saying that the big problem is that there are a lot of people with law degree. That is why this problem is happening.
Yes.
Right? But if that is true, then why are the some lawyers able to charge so much? Give the mic there.
Unskilled lawyers.
So some lawyers are unskilled.
Yes, sir.
So now that is a huge problem. See, I'll tell you something. How many of you have seen that parents have some problem at home or some relative has a legal problem and they are scared of going to lawyers because they'll be charged too much? Is that the case? Or because the lawyer will take them for a round, like, God knows what they'll do, right? I'm sure many of your parents wanted you to become a lawyer so that they have like somebody in the family if the problem happens, right? So it is not that there are not enough work in the market, but people are not finding the right lawyers to do the work. Lawyers they can trust to get that work done. Agreed? There is work, but lawyers are not in a position to do that work. So for example, right? So for example, you graduate. Okay, you graduate out of college. Would you know how to draft contracts? Okay, but you have studied Contract Act 2 semesters, correct? Some of you have topped in that exam, right? You don't know how to draft contracts. Who's gonna teach you? Correct? Now this is a big problem. Now it is not just contracts. You have studied CRPC, Evidence Acts, IPC, all of that, right? If somebody comes and tells you, I got arrested. When I was arrested, I had 5 lakh rupees in my bag. Now police has taken that money, seized it. I got bail, I am out. But I need to take that money out. What do I do? Do you guys know what to do? Which forum to go to? Before which court, which application has to be filed? What documents has to be provided with it? Do you know? Okay, leave this. Okay, I'll tell you something more easy. Imagine, so you know that these days divorce rates are very high, right? Even I am getting divorced. Okay, so let's say somebody like me comes to you and says there's a mutual consent divorce. No problem. There's no fight, nothing, no cases being filed, nothing is happening. You have to file a mutual consent divorce case. Like what has to be done? There are 2 motions. First motion, second motion. Okay. And done, right? But do you know how to do it? Family court, sure. After that?
We have to do a mutual agreement that we wanted to end a marriage.
No agreement. There's no agreement. Huh? Notice is given. No notice is given. Okay, so this is the problem. Now see, you can easily charge somebody 30,000 rupees for doing a mutual consent divorce. Now if somebody comes to you also and says, can you help me with this? You are a law student, you can say, I'll do it. Just pay me 5,000 rupees. They will know, okay, 5,000 for 5,000 rupees, he's guiding me. People will happily pay that to you, right? If you can actually help them. Right? Or you can even prepare the documents. Because if all the documents are ready, you can go to court, find some lawyer, pay him 500 rupees also, he'll just appear and do whatever is needed. You are getting what I'm saying? But what people pay money for is for the solution. Paperwork, advice, counseling, there'll be some difference of opinion, explaining to people what is the process, how it is going to get done, making sure the right documents are in place. My lawyer did not tell me the right documents, so I had wasted 2 days unnecessarily going to the court because he did not tell me that, okay, you filed this in the beginning, now you also need to carry originals with you in every hearing. Judge sent us back saying, no, without seeing originals, I will not do anything. 2 days got wasted. Why? Because my lawyer was not aware enough. Okay, he's practicing, but he didn't know this. So, this is what people pay money to avoid, to experts, right? Are you getting what I'm saying? So, how are you going to learn these things? This is a big challenge, right? So, people tell me that, there's people right now there is a job crisis in the market. Lawyers are hiring less, There's an economic crisis. You must be knowing government has come up with good policies to grow the economy, but right now economy is in a very bad situation. Government is responding to it, trying, tax cut, this. Why are they doing all these things? Because the economy is in trouble. Now, when the economy is trouble, naturally, lawyers are also facing a problem because of it. Okay? What is the problem? The problem is that companies that used to spend a lot of money on law now are cutting back on their legal budgets. Okay? Law firms are scared to hire. They are not hiring as much they used to hire. Litigators are also having a problem because they have raised bills, but clients are not paying on time. Clients are delaying payments. So overall, people are scared to hire. So there is a bigger crisis in the legal job market. Anyway there is a crisis. Now there is a bigger crisis right now in the legal job market. So people who will graduate according to Manmohan Singh, this economic problem will last at least 3 years. Okay? So next 3 years, you can expect that no easy jobs. There are some times when the economy is growing fast, companies and law firms need lot of lawyers, lot of litigators, then anybody is hired. Okay, come, we'll train you. Right? You don't know anything, no problem. LLB degree, at least we can train you. Come, we'll train you. We'll figure out. That happens in good times in the market. Is it a good time right now? No. Does it mean there is no job? No, there is still job. People are still getting hired. But that requires you to have knowledge. The more knowledgeable people, because right now, companies and law firms and litigators, everybody is trying to reduce the cost of hiring. Hiring somebody is a cost. Like if we hire somebody, we have to pay them salary, yes. But is that the only cost? No, we have to give them a place to sit. They will consume coffee, tea in the office. These are small costs. But a much bigger cost is unproductive time. We hired them, but they still don't know how to do the work for which we hired them. We have to train them. So a senior person has to give their time training the junior. So we have to pay salary to the senior person also. And while you are hired and you are getting paid salary, you are just learning. You are not ready to even do the job. Right? How long it will take? What if in 3 months, let's say 3 months is taken to learn the job or 6 months is taken? What if you don't learn? What if after 6 months it turns out that you did not learn? What if after 6 months after learning you leave the job and go somewhere else? What if after 6 months you decide, sorry, I don't like law firm, now I'll do litigation. Or in litigation, like I don't like litigation, I'll do law firm. What happens to the investment made by the employer? Right? You, of course, as students, you don't worry about this. As job seeker also, you don't worry about this. But this is a big worry for the employer. They want to cut this cost. So who they want to hire are the people who are already trained. Right? If there are 2 people who come for an interview, one person has topped in class, has done 10 moots, 10 debates, and has like done lots of courses, this, that, everything. Okay? Great CV. The other person has a mediocre CV, was last in his class, but can draft contracts, can draft petitions, applications really well, and he can answer the practical questions. Which court they have to go to, what has to be done, where to go, just knows. Which one will you hire? First one also has higher expectation of payment because topper, this, that, has gotten degree from Oxford maybe. So of course, they will have higher expectation. But from an employer perspective, who's better to hire?
Second hand.
Correct? As simple as that. Now, our education system does not prepare us for that. And it is not fault of your college, right? It is like Bar Council of India has created syllabus, right? And something is happening, like the same way things are being taught for the last 100 years. You study the books that you study, Ratanlal, Dhirajlal, Bangia, etc. How old are these books? Ramayya, how long have they lasted? 100 years, 50 years, 30 years, at least 30 years. A Bangia is new, relatively new, but that is also 30 years. Okay? Do you see that the world is the same as it was 30 years back?
No.
Are the employers the same that used to be there 30 years back? what makes money today is it the same as 30 years back? No. Everything has changed, right? There are new industries coming up. Technology industry, earlier when we are growing up, IT meant what? IT meant call center was IT. Correct? Call center jobs, and people used to go to Bangalore to do some IT jobs, which was Infosys, IT enabled services, right? Now you have people building companies from India which are valued at billion dollars. Ola, right? Flipkart, right? So many are there, right? You must be getting all these ad startups which have started and then hiring engineers to build products, not to provide services to US and Germany and UK. They are building products for technology for countries in our own country and selling in other countries also. And this is a great industry. The fastest growing industry in India right now is media industry, media and entertainment. Okay? Because there's Jio, everybody is watching videos on phone. Everything has changed. There is a lot of entertainment being consumed compared to before, right? Earlier entertainment was Shaktiman at night, right? That's it. People used to wait for it. Now see the difference of the situation, how much it has changed, correct? Now this is something that is creating legal work, correct? So what people learned in the era of like Shaktiman ke zamane mein what you could study about law, if you are studying the same law now, then how will you do the new work? But going there is far. Right now you don't even know how to draft a basic contract, which was there 30 years back also, right? That's a problem. So from that perspective, let's start showing you this presentation that I did. So I have raised a lot of problems, but there must be some solution also, right? What is the solution? We'll talk about it. So how many of you think that NLU students have an advantage over you? Like people who go to National Law School, Bangalore, or NUJS, Calcutta, or NALSA, etc. They have an advantage over you. How many of you think that? Show your hand. Rest of you think that you have more advantage over them. Then why are you not raising your hand? Who has more advantage? NLU students or you? If you think, so show hands if you think NLU students have more advantage. Okay. So anybody thinks that you have more advantage over NLU students? Okay. Why? Please explain.
Because we read also the same books and the laws are same, but depend upon the interpretation of the statutes. Like for example, I can also practice in the same court with the same law.
What is your advantage?
My advantage is that the basic thing is that I'm from that college which gave me a motivation that self-study. I did not depend on anyone. Yes, and I have made myself to learn from video lectures. I have passed my 4 years of video lectures only.
So that is interesting, right? So somebody who is at NLU may be relying on NLU, but he is doing it himself. He has taken we talked about responsibility in the beginning, right? So he has taken responsibility of his own success and performance, which is great. Which we are going to talk about that mainly today. But many of you said that NLU students have an advantage over non-NLU students. What is that advantage? Can anybody tell me? Hands, mic there please.
Firstly, final advantage because their fees are relatively, like comparatively lower because of the subsidies by government on their fees. We have like more fees.
Fees, let's forget. These days they also pay very high fee. 2 lakh, 3 lakh per year they also pay.
Yeah.
So let's not talk about fees. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
They get more internship options, good internship options.
Why do they get more internships?
Because they are of NLUs and
They
are from NLU.
Why NLU? And so what is special about NLU that people give more internship to them?
Because it's of government based.
Government, so many government colleges are there. Government Law College, Ernakulam. Do they get more internships also?
Don't know about
It's not government, it's about brand. NLUs have become a brand. There are a lot of government law colleges. Calcutta University is also a government university. So is Bardhaman University. They get no internships. Nobody gives them internships in Calcutta. Very difficult. It's not like nobody gets. There are some people who really work hard and get. But mostly they don't get. It's not easy at all. But NUJS people get. Why? Because there is a brand. Somehow there is a brand in the market that NLU is a higher, people have got through CLAT, they are more intelligent. There is a perception in the market that they are better lawyers, better quality graduates. There is a perception in the market. What is a brand? Why do you think like there are certain companies you buy and certain companies you don't buy? Why everybody wants to buy a Mercedes? Because Mercedes is a brand. Why do everybody want to buy a Lamborghini? Because it's a brand, right? So when you have a brand, people are attracted towards it, and there is a brand of NLU that is undeniable, okay? Which you do not have. This is one disadvantage. There are other disadvantages also. For example, NLUs attract better teachers than normal other colleges, okay? They have maybe a culture that is already there, okay? So many things are there. So one major thing that is different in a NLU is exposure. The exposure you get. Because what happens is that in NLU, every week there is some famous lawyer or some judge or somebody is coming, giving lecture, some event is happening, moot is happening, this, that, foreign. For example, in NLS Bangalore, they have an arbitration moot that is sponsored by Harvard Smith, which is a London law firm. Okay? So these kind of things happen. HNLU has a moot that is sponsored by Trilegal. They have a lot of symposiums, they have a lot of events happening in the university, and they are constantly exposed to different kind of activities. For example, you guys have come today here, and you are getting exposed to our thought process, a new kind of conversation, a new kind of idea. This is exposure. And exposure can happen in many different ways. If you went to court every day and watched what proceeding is happening, that is also exposure. Okay? The NLU people have tremendous exposure in the industry compared to most law colleges. I don't know exactly about your college, but you can do that calculation in your head. Another major thing about NLUs is that there is a massive competition. Like so much competition that people get depressed in constant competition. That doesn't matter. Your competition is on. Rat race is on. Okay, who will get this internship? It's like this. Like everybody is everybody is like, bolte na ki hathi maar ke aaya hai, so everybody is like that. You walk in the corridor, this guy has won this moot, this guy is state badminton champion, this guy is like getting Rhodes scholarship, this guy has done some other thing, got foreign law firm. It's crazy. And you are constantly into that environment, so you start feeling that if I don't do anything, then I'm a loser. When all the people around you, see, if all the people around you want to play Ludo, then you'll also play Ludo, most high chances. If everybody around you want to do martial arts, high chances that you will also end up doing martial arts. If everybody around you is constantly making their CV, constantly like, यहाँ से एक सर्टिफिकेट लाते हैं, यहाँ से कुछ और करते हैं, यहाँ से ये कर सकते हैं. Everybody is running that race, then you also get influenced. The environment helps. There are really high expectations. People are like, oh, we are in NLU, so we have already achieved so much, which is not true. But they already have this high self-confidence. So they have to go and keep up to that. Parents also have high expectation. Everybody has high expectation that they will get a job of 1.5 lakh per month right out of college, this, that, right? So there is that a high expectation also helps them. When people do not have expectations on you, then you also don't want to do anything. Theek hai, it's okay. I mean, we'll see. Right? That's how it is. A lot of people can identify with this very much, right? So the next thing is aspiration, desperation, inspiration, and perspiration. Okay, so these are all things are important. Like you have to aspire that I want to do something great, because if you have a small goal, then nobody wants to achieve it. Like for example, who wants to work very hard for earning a salary of 30,000 per month? It's not even much. If you only are thinking कि भाई किस तरीके से 30,000 मुझे मिल जाए महीने का, then you don't feel like working hard for it, do you? But maybe today I am getting 10,000, no problem. I am working for earning 1 crore a year. That is my target. Someday I will earn 1 crore a year. Now I don't care. Even if I don't earn anything, it's okay. Even if I earn 10,000, it's okay. That is aspiration. For aspiration, people will do a lot of things. But for a small goal, that मैं तो सिर्फ खुशी, मतलब I am very happy with very less. If this is the mindset, then you are not aspiring and you will not work that much. Not possible. Not comparable at all. People who are easily satisfied, they don't have aspiration and they won't work that hard. Desperation is next level of aspiration. Like desperation, like I have to do it. Desperation, for example, I was desperate when in my college they increased the fee a lot in my second year. And I had an education loan. Education loan was for much smaller amount, but they doubled the fee, so it became like my entire education loan was going to run out in my third year. Okay? So now when I went to the bank and asked, they said you need to keep some property as collateral to get more loan. And that is a desperate situation for me because my parents had one land, but we did not want to, I did not feel right about that being mortgaged to get money. Felt very bad. So it was a desperate situation. I have to earn. So I figured out how to start earning and I started earning and I paid my own fees after that. Right? So that is desperation. Inspiration is, of course, this is beyond all these small goals. Inspiration is like we get inspired by beauty. We get inspired by poetry. We get inspired by patriotism, right? Different things are there. So there may be something that inspires you, like something may have happened to you. So there is one student of ours, she faced a lot of cruelty as a child, okay? Then when she came to us, we had rejected her from a program. But she said, she came and told the story and said that this is what inspires me. So now I want to become a successful lawyer. So we accepted her after that because we saw that she's very inspired, okay? So that is inspiration, that, I have faced certain difficulty, now I want to bring justice in the world. That is what? That is not aspiration. That is also not desperation, that is inspiration. Perspiration is, right? Perspiration in North India, everybody is very familiar with it. When it is very high summer, you perspire a lot, right? But not that kind of perspiration. We are talking about perspiration in really like putting in the hours, working hard. Most of the time, we think we work very hard. But I can assure you, most of you don't even know what is working hard. Like you haven't worked like maybe even 10% of as much as you can work. Maybe 5%, maybe 2%. Like when I was in college, I thought I am working really hard. Then I started learning how to work hard and then it's almost like I realized that I can work at least 3 times more than I was already doing. And today I can do a lot more. So you have to train yourself to work hard and it takes time. And the biggest enemy is thinking that I am already working hard. Tell yourself that you are not working hard at all. That you can work hard 10 times more than what you are already doing. Aim for 10 times more and then you will see what is possible. It will take time. It will not happen in a day. But if you aim to work 10 times harder. So let me give you an example, right? So somebody asked me, she was a class 12 student giving boards exam, just finished boards exam. And she called me and asked me that how hard does a lawyer work? I have heard that lawyers have to work very hard. How hard is that? So I told her that you just gave board exams, right? So before the board exam, one day before the exam, how much did you work hard? She's like, I studied all. I think I studied for 10 hours. I just kept studying. Even in my sleep, I was thinking of, all the answers and what chapter I missed and all of that. I said, that is the day of a lawyer every day in their life. Every single day. You have to work at least that much. Do you remember the day before your board's exam? Like class 12, like the difficult exam, maths, commerce, I don't know, accounts, the difficult day? That day, every single day of your life is if you are a successful lawyer. There are many lawyers who sit and sip tea outside, sitting under a tree. That's different. But the successful lawyer's day, every day is like the day before the board exam. And that is the hard work, right? So in the end of the day, only one thing that will count is that if you are a good lawyer or not. 2 things actually. Actually, it's not one thing. I'll change it. One thing that counts is that if you can get relief for your client, if you can deliver the results for your client consistently, once, twice, thrice is not enough. You have to do it again and again and again every day. Imagine like that. right? Imagine having to giving boards exam every week. It's a nightmare, right? But that is how good lawyers, that their life is like that. Okay? So they essentially are giving, it gets easier over time, of course. I'm just saying it gets easier over time. Right now it will feel very hard. But if you are giving boards exam every week, it will become, your brain will expand, your mind will change, your abilities will develop, and then it will become easy. So that way it becomes easier. People start enjoying it. But from your perspective, where you are right now, it is that hard. Okay? So if you are a good lawyer, then you have to deliver results again and again and again. You have to pass the boards exam again and again and again, and maybe even score high marks, right? Now, the other challenge is that it is not enough that you're able to do it. Initially, the challenge is that people don't know you can do it. Imagine somehow you learned how to do it. But how do people know that you can do it? The assumption is that most of the lawyers don't know anything. Like the young lawyers don't know much work, can't do much. Okay? You should see how the in-house counsels, okay, talk about lawyers who are practicing in court. Okay? They say they don't know anything, they don't understand basics, they don't understand our interest, they don't get back on time, they're lazy, they don't respond to our mails, they don't respond to our calls. So many things. Like clients are so unhappy with most lawyers. Very unhappy. There are few lawyers, but they're professional and they get a lot of work. Because they are professional, because they are so good at what they do. But one thing is that, okay, you keep doing good work over many years, 10 years, 20 years, then people slowly one by one talk about you, but nobody has that time, so you want to succeed faster. So for that, you have to find out how people can come to know, how they can discover you and come to understand how good you are. So one part is to be good, and the second part is for people to know that you are good. Both have to go hand in hand for you to be a successful lawyer. Now, mooting, debating, MUN, whatever, all of the article writing to an extent, all of these things are playing in sandbox. Do you know what is a sandbox? Children play in sandbox, right? So sandbox is like safe. वो sand है, उसमें कुछ होगा नहीं, मतलब चोट वोट नहीं लगेगा. बच्चे को sandbox में डाल दो, they will be fine and they can do whatever they want in the sandbox, right? So parents put the children in sandbox. So sandbox is like a safe place. So mooting is like a sandbox. Like you are arguing a case, but in a sandbox. Like there is no real consequence. किसी को कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा if you lose the case or whatever. If you have done really badly, you did your research wrong, you got your facts wrong, you got your law wrong. In a moot, how does it matter, right? Nobody is going to jail because of it, right? Now, there is a problem with that. Okay. This playing in a sandbox does not make you a better lawyer. It's like very basic. I mean, ठीक है, कर लो, but this is very basic, right? What is really needed is real life experience, how things happen out there in the real life. If you spend too much time playing in the sandbox, imagine a 20-year-old person playing in the sandbox. Will you appreciate it? You'll say, no, please go play some cricket, football, some real something. You lose some, win some, like some real result should happen. Then if you keep playing cricket, some people do that, right? No, there are some people who don't want to grow up. They keep playing cricket at the age of, 30 also. But then people say, no, this is not the place for you to win or lose. You go out in life, do something, there you win or lose, that matters. You can't keep playing games, right? So the earlier you start playing the real life games, which has real consequences, real money to be made, real consequences like people going to jail or losing their property. Now those kind of matters. The sooner you can participate in those games, in whatever capacity it may be, is much better than playing in the sandbox. Now, the problem is that when you are in college, what this happens is that there will be a lot of peer pressure. People will be like, no, mooting is the most important thing in college. A lot of law student, mooting is the most important thing. If you win a moot, then you are a hero. These kind of conversations exist. But these are myths. These are institutional myths. Okay, I have to somehow top in my class. What will happen if you top in your class? Is your career guaranteed? What happens if you top in your class? Nothing. Right? Nothing happens. But if you actually learn how to do legal work, if you become a good lawyer, imagine the results. If you know one work, you know it for life, you will probably do it for hundreds of clients. If you just know how to do let's say a mutual consent divorce, or let's say you learn to file an application for condonation of delay in Limitation Act, whatever. You learn one thing. As a lawyer, you can do that again and again and again and earn money each time. Imagine how much you'll earn over like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. People practice law for 50 years. One thing you learned, you can earn so much. Okay? There's another conversation, it's a little tangent. So I say that, people say that, how can I be secure in my career? Because people want that one thing. Like, ek cheez bol do, I want to do this and I want to be done. Like, ये एक चीज करने से लाइफ सेट हो जाएगा, क्या करना है? So that people have been told you already that people told you that class 10 बेटा इसमें अच्छा कर लो लाइफ सेट हो जाएगा. नहीं हुआ. Class 12 में भी वही बोला. They told you the same thing in class 12, लाइफ सेट नहीं हुआ. अब कॉलेज में आ गए हैं कि सोचा कि कॉलेज में ही लाइफ सेट हो जाएगा, अभी तक लाइफ नहीं सेट हुआ है. ठीक है, अब आप बोलेंगे कि जॉब मिल जाए एक बार तो लाइफ सेट हो जाएगा, नहीं होगा. उसके बाद बोलेंगे नहीं शादी कर लो लाइफ सेट हो जाएगा. शादी करके जब प्रॉब्लम होगा बोलेंगे अरे बच्चा पैदा कर लो लाइफ सेट. उसके बाद सच में सेट हो जाएंगे सब. ठीक है, तो दैट इज अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी. बट व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट the one way I know a lawyer can be set 100%. No, if it doesn't happen, you can come catch me. Okay, you have to learn 100 skills, 100 skills. Skills not like mooting, debating, research. No, not reading, writing. These are not these skills. 100 skills for which a client will pay at least 10,000 rupees. It's not a big ask actually. Most of the skills are like that. Clients will pay 10,000 rupees for many different things. You have to find 100 such skills, okay, and learn 100 skills one by one. Doesn't matter how slow. As long as you learn 100 skills, you will be set. There will be no problem. 100 things you can do really well as a lawyer. What kind of things? For example, I can draft a shareholder agreement. I can, I know how to prepare the minutes of the meeting for a board meeting of a company. I know how to draft a technology transfer agreement. I know how to draft a bail agreement and argue it. I know how to do cross-examination. Something for which actually clients don't pay for cross-examination. You may have to learn it as a part of something else, but find 100 things for which a client will pay you. Right? And you're set. Okay. So, this is what I say. Acquire real skills. Whatever is a skill for which people will pay, acquire such skills. And whatever cost, doesn't matter how much. You may have to work for somebody for free, somebody may insult you, you may have to pay for it, you may have to do whatever, you may have to read books, whatever. I don't know how you learn it, but as long as you learn that, you are great. And this is the other thing, you have to start understanding, spend time with people who want solutions. So one reason for my early success, I used to get clients even as a law student, okay, for investment agreements, etc. Why that happened? Because I started spending time with entrepreneurs, okay, literally spending time, even living in their house and seeing what work they are doing, what struggles they are facing, so that enabled me to know what is their problem so that I can offer them a solution. So you need to spend time with potential clients. Who are the people who have a problem? Maybe go spend time in a jail, give free legal aid. At least you will get to spend time with those people, see what they think, what their problems are. That will enable you. This is another thing. Understand the legal market. Okay. Who are the different players? What are the different kind of law firms? Who are the different kind of lawyers out there? What kind of work they do? Why do they charge different rates? Somebody is charging 10 lakh for one agreement, another person charging 10,000 or 50,000. What is the difference? How come? Why so much difference? Right? You need to start understanding the legal market. This is one of the best things you will do for yourself. The other thing I want to say is state really high standards for yourself. Or most of the time in college, you will see mediocre standards around you. Okay? You will see many teachers are mediocre, many students are mediocre lawyers all around you. Okay, but do not set your standard there that, oh, I just need to be a little better than them. No. That's a problem. You need to set your, when standards get set low, then you're done for life. Okay, if you have done it by mistake, there is a time. I'm giving you an opportunity right now. Change your standards. Okay, standards has to be much higher. Okay, that will take you forward. And that is why you have to work with people who have really high standards. It doesn't matter if you're working in a small law firm with 1 lawyer, 2 lawyers, or whatever. But the organization should have a very high standard for their work. If you work with people with high standards, your standards will improve and you will go very far in life. And do projects with real life impact. Whatever it takes, even if it's for free, even if it is, so you can help one person with some real life matter. You can draft something, you can argue something, you can give them advice, start a clinic, whatever. It can be anything. Maybe file a PIL about a cause that you care about. Go help a lawyer who's filing PILs, right? But anything with a real life impact. And remember that your time is very limited. You cannot do a lot of different things. You can do only few limited things. So college is the best time to start experimental projects and succeed big accidentally. Okay, because there is no pressure right now. So if you start blogging, if you start making YouTube videos, maybe you can make a TikTok channel on Constitution of India. Maybe you can make an Instagram channel on criminal law. I don't know. Like there are so many things people can do. There is one girl in Hyderabad. She started teaching CLAT related stuff on YouTube for free. And now she has 21,000 followers on YouTube organically. So you can start that kind of interesting things that interest you. Maybe you have a passion for design. Maybe you have passion for art. So see if you can somehow marry that art and law and do something. Because that is the kind of lawyers you need. That is the kind of lawyers who succeed. And real life project. You'll never get this time back. Find mentors. Find people who can mentor you on such things. Okay, this will take time to explain. And this is also important. When you look for jobs, find a boss, somebody who will inspire you, mentor you, show you the way, set high standards. Yeah. Worry about skills and not money in your initial jobs. Remember this, that even if people go to NLU, all the things we talked about, most of them haven't done. Few of them have. But most of them still does not have those 100 skills yet. If you have these 100 skills, you can beat them. You can beat them not 10 times, 100 times. I'm doing it in 10x, it's 100x. Okay? Right? And this is something that I want you to think about. Imagine that you're going to do something for 15 years. Because always people are thinking very short term. 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 3 months. Imagine you have 15 years to become really good at something. What will you want to do? You can't change in midway. 15 years you have to do the same thing. Stick to it. So what will you take? What would be that great that you can do it for 15 years very happily? And then you will become great at it. Don't be in a hurry. Okay? Remember about this. Job security versus income security. Income security is you knowing those skills. There is no job security in today's world. Okay? But if you have the skills, then your income security will always be there. Because you know the work, you can help people. People come to you to get some value. They are not going anywhere. Okay? Okay. Thank you guys. All the best. Great talking to you. If you have any questions, happy to answer them later. And you can always take my phone number and email ID from Uzair. Okay? Thank you.